Hi, good morning. My name is Jay Rothman, and welcome to Real People, Real Stories. I am coming in from the United States, and I'm excited to welcome to the studio Dr. Priya Saklani, coming in from Mumbai, India. Good evening to you. How are you?
I'm very well, Jay. Thank you.
For you, I believe it's about 11 p.m. Now I know you're a night owl, so this is for you. It kind of feels like your morning or my morning. So welcome to the United States. I'm excited to be overseas and uh, have you join me in this conversation today. How have you been, Priya?
Jay, first and foremost, let me thank you. Thank you for giving me this platform and once again inviting me. It's always a delight and a pleasure to come on your platforms and on your shows. Eternally grateful. I am good. If you're asking me how I have been in the current times, I have been quite stable, quite grounded, and quite centered and very conscious.
Well, obviously, that's a loaded statement there because behind that is, well, how does that work for you? How are you able to show up for yourself and remain present in this moment?
Uh, Very basic things, Jay. First and foremost, you have to be conscious and awake. You need to understand what's going on. You need to be aware of what's happening behind the scenes and what's taking place on the planet at this time. And secondly, you don't need to feed into fear. You need to be staying connected to your own self. Somebody who has a poor connection to themselves are going to be creating suffering for themselves at these times. So that is what I practice. That's what I preach. And I have been teaching this to my own community for over years. And we've been talking about this, the great event, for many, many years now. And here we are. So literally been preparing for this for over past 9 years now. So what you see is groundedness or centeredness is a lot of inner work, a lot of connection with my own self, and a lot of awareness, basically. So I understand what's happening, and I also practice certain things, which I'm going to be sharing with the audience today, what they can do to kind of bring ease and calmness into their own realities. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
It's very easy for us to get into the minutia of the details as to what's happening outside of the four walls of our homes. I invited you to come in from Mumbai, India, because I I'm really curious to see how other teachers, mentors, leaders in the world of mental health and wellness are are embracing this moment in time. I am going to invite you to share from your perspective, um, real briefly, uh, what is happening in Mumbai specifically, and how is the current COVID-19 impacting the country?
Yeah. See, to be very, very honest with you, I am very aware of what's happening, even in the city, even in the country, but I'm not in it. I'm observing it from a distance. And that is why I have been able to keep myself grounded and centered. So there is a lockdown today, starting midnight till 31st March. But life has been I mean, business as usual. I've been going for my walks in the morning. I have been, I mean, there are people on the road, people working. Yeah, there are a few people with masks here and there, but Bombay people have not really taken it that seriously. And that's why I think they have, they have started this lockdown, because probably one is infected and they're probably infecting others because they're going in social gatherings and groups and so on and so forth. So that's a bit of the local thing. But to be honest with you, I'm not following it also so much, because I am creating my own reality and it's not interfering with my reality. I don't go focusing on what people are doing. I'm just seeing there is consciousness and there's unconsciousness. So at these times, we really need to be conscious. It's not a luxury anymore, it's a necessity. If we look at this situation from a human aspect, We are only going to be in a fearful state. We're going to be panicking, and obviously uncertainty. Uncertainty is food for panic. And yes, this is something we've never experienced before. It's pretty new to us, and we don't really know what to do. And everybody is fearful, uncertain, they don't know what to do. However, if you understand why this is happening, you step back and see what's going on. Why have we been forced to isolate? Why there is a shutdown? Why all of this is happening? If you understand that from a larger perspective, from a higher perspective, you can probably make your life a bit easier at this time. How much ever easier you can make. So if you understand that, it's, to me, it's like a system cleanse. It's reset button has been pressed on planet Earth. Massive lower frequencies are being purged. Old systems, old paradigms, and this was needed. This was needed, and it is happening completely on dot, on spot, and it's happening just the way it's meant to be. So what we need to do is, if we really need to move through it with ease, we need to shift our perspective. Jay, are you there?
I am.
Okay, sorry, I can't see you. Sorry. So yeah, where was I? So if we understand what is happening behind the scenes, that why this was needed, there are systems have been corrupt on this planet for eons, right? What we have done to Mother Earth, what we've done to the plant kingdom, to the animal kingdom, and so on and so forth. This was coming. This was coming, and it's about time this happened. However, what we need to do is we need to see it for what it is, and we need to see what it means to us. If you are fearful, you need to sit with yourself and ask yourself, what does this fear mean for me? What am I scared of? What am I anxious about? So go within, go within, go within. That is what I'm teaching. That's what I'm practicing. Isolation is so that you can go within. Sit with yourself and reflect. What is it that you need in life? Slow down, pause, reflect. That is why
For those that have been, let's say, practicing self-care, self-awareness, conscious living, you're speaking a language that is understandable. But I'm going to ask you to kind of break it down a little bit more into simple terms for those that this may be a new language that they're not accustomed to hearing. What does that mean when a country or a state or a city is putting you what's called shelter in place, where you are only allowed to go out for bare necessities and or to hike or walk, as they say in the United States now, which for many people is a whole new concept. Putting that aside, what does it mean to go inward and isolate within?
Yeah, sure. Thank you for asking that. I'm going to make it very, very, very simple for a layperson. Let's say your office is shut down. You're sitting at home. You can't go to work, and you're with your family. What I would like you to do is, it's a suggestion, and I say this to everyone, take it or leave it, whatever resonates with you. Accept whatever it is. Don't fight it. Don't resist it. If you are someone who's being paid, even though there is a shutdown, be grateful. If you have food to eat, clothes on you, and roof over your head, be grateful. Find ways to connect with your family. Do things that you didn't have time to do earlier. Cook together, garden together, quilt together. Connect with your immediate family. Check on your neighbor. Probably you never knew who your neighbor was all these years. Be there for each other. So it's basically sitting and reflecting when your office is shut down, planes are shut down, you can't go anywhere, you can't do anything. What do? Accept it for what it is and focus in the now. Focus what you need to do. Take out that passion, take out something that you've been wanting to do. Clean. Do something around the house which is meaningful with your family. It's like a symbology, I would say, like how in olden times people would gather around fire and connect with their families. Think of that. So this is for somebody who does not understand consciousness. And of course, be aware and understand why this is happening. Take time to reflect. If you're fearful, check, what am I scared of? That is called going within, sitting with yourself with those emotions, with fear or anxiety, and not have the herd like mentality that that one is doing that, so let me also follow and do that. You don't need to hoard supplies. If you have to stay in the house for 3 months, you don't need half the supermarket in your pantry. Markets have crashed, your wealth has gone down. Don't look at that wealth. It's happened. Look at your income, look at the flow. If you have some cash in your hand, you can buy supplies, you have food to eat, you're good to go. Be grateful. Be content with what you have. Simplify your life. Slow down. You have been given this time to slow down, to pause, to reflect, to connect with yourself and with your family and whoever's around you. Make sense?
Yes, makes a whole lot of sense.
Stay
Simple, not
calm.
easy.
Stay calm. That's it. Stay calm. Don't watch. There's so much of information on social media. Don't stick to your television from morning till night, checking on the numbers, checking on what's happening. Understand one thing. You're wanting to fight a virus and you're wanting to boost your immune system. But when you're in a fear state, you're in a panic state, you're lowering your immune system. You're threatening your own life with that fear and you're threatening your vibration. So raise your vibration. When I say raise your vibration, don't feed the fear-based media or anything in your mind. Yes, it is there. It's good to be aware. But don't go talking about it from morning till night and just discussing with everybody. I mean, beat the drum of it from morning till night. It's not going to change. You are going to be feeling down and depleted by the end of the day. So let's take something positive out of it. Positive would be mass low frequencies are being purged at this time. Corruption is going to be exposed and would come to light very soon. We would understand why this is happening. Give it some time. And what positive, like what could you do for yourself in these times? Take that positive. Be grateful. Stay in the present moment. Connect with your family. Stay calm. Fear is going to give you stress. Stress is going to be lowering your immune system. And if you are fearful, you are matched to this virus. Anything that you're fearful of, you are in the process of creating it or attracting it. So don't go playing those what if games in your mind. What if this happens to me? What if this happens to my child? What if it happens to me? Who's going to take care of my children? Don't go there. Hey, when you're doing that, that means you can be controlled. You're fearful, that means you can be controlled. People can tell you what to do and what not to do. But don't forget, you're still the creator of your reality. You are still creating at this point in time. And what are you creating? Fear-based reality for yourself. So don't give away your power by being in that panic state. See what you're exposing yourself to. What do you expose yourself to morning to night?
What are some of the tools that you personally have embraced in your life that work for you to turn down the chatter that's going on in your mind, which leads to fear if in fact we're thinking about something that hasn't happened yet, that is in the future? And the future could be tomorrow, could be 10 hours from now. What are some of the tools that help you turn off the mind and go inward so that you can reduce your thoughts of concern, worry, fear, anxiety?
Jay, what I want to say is over here is first, I mean, I woke up. Years ago, I woke up. And how much ever I would like to try to say this in a human aspect and human perspective, I'm still not finding words like how to, but I can still, I have tools, I've made notes over here, I can share that with you, that how to go inwards and what you can do to stop the mind chatter. But what I would like to share with whoever is watching at this point in time, that guys, we have to wake up. We have to unlearn everything that we have been told. And this, whatever is happening on the planet, is going to be pushing people into the light. This darkness is going to be pushing everybody into the light. This is mass awakening. And for those of us who have been awake and conscious, we understand awakening does not happen on love and peace. There is chaos, and then we wake up. So this chaos has an order to it. It's happening at a perfect time. It's happening because it's meant to be. And it's happening because masses, the humans, have to wake up. There is no other choice. So be aware. Understand what is awakening. And there is no, we are on the threshold of moving to 5D, new earth. You cannot build anything new if there is old present. And we've been hearing about this for years upon years, that old systems will crash. Education system, whatever is not working for us at this point in time, has to go so that new can be built on top of that. I mean, you can't build on top of old. Old has to go. There is no creation without destruction. So we are moving towards something better, something long-lasting, something sustainable, and something new. So old has to go. Understand that. It wasn't serving us. And how you can get out of your mind, I would say meditate. Go quiet. If you don't even know how to meditate, sit quietly for 5 minutes. Go in your room and just sit quietly, watch the nature. Birds have been chirping a lot for the past couple of weeks. You must have noticed skies are much more clearer. Earth has already reset itself. So you can connect with nature. You can listen to something, music. You can meditate. You can move your body. Can't go out, do some yoga, do some dancing, maybe even in your own house. Step out of mind and drop into heart. When you're connecting with your child or with your wife or with your parents or any senior citizens around in your community, you're dropping from here to heart. So you're calling somebody and asking them, how are you? I'm just checking on you. Are you okay? You're operating from heart center. Your heart's opening up. We're all in this together. There is nothing to fear. We just need to maneuver this in a way where we are not fear-based. We are not panicky. We're not uncertain. We're accepting it the way it is. We're not in denial. We're staying calm. We have our supplies. And we are taking care of ourselves as best as we can at this time, because you really don't have anything to do. You're forced to look after yourself. That's what going within means. Looking at your life, taking stock. What's working for me? What was I doing all this while? Is this working out for me? Or do I need to follow my passion, follow my highest joy? Or why was I running after success or money or whatever? Your money, what good is your money today? How is it serving you? You could be having a lot of money in the bank today. How is it serving you? What's going to serve you is your connection to yourself first, and then to others.
Speaking of others, I'd like to take a moment just to thank those that are joining us, have joined us live in this conversation. I just want to take a moment to honor you and thank you for showing up just on time, your time, and supporting both Dr. Priya and myself today, right here, right now, in this moment. You've shared such beautiful, pure liquid gold, as I love to refer to it. Some refer to it as nuggets. A few things that come to mind in this moment. One is you use the word connecting. That is how we go inward, is by connecting. And I love there's so many beautiful words of wisdom that you have shared in this moment here. But I tell you, what's really working for me is what has worked for me for the past 4+ years, which is it's about getting out of my own head, getting out of my own thoughts that through having the awareness in the moment to be able to bring myself back to a different perspective, which is if I'm in thought, typically I'm either in thoughts of something that's happened in the past or something that may or may not happen in the future. And through just the practice of paying attention to where my mind is in any given moment, I then can ask myself, am I there or am I here? And once I understand that most likely if I'm in thought, I'm not here, I'm there, then I get to ask myself, what can I do to bring me back right here, right now? And that's when I have choices. You know, I have a choice in that moment. I can give myself permission to stay in those thoughts, which I have learned in a very profound way, typically don't serve me or my life or my health today, and certainly not my relationships. Or I have another choice, which is to reach for a healthy tool, a healthy experience that I have learned how to master in my own way over the past number of years. And so for me, it could be something as simple as turning on a song. As I've shared before, one of my clients recently asked me, well, what happens if you still are in thought after you have that song on? I say, well, I changed the song. And then he said to me, well, what if that next song isn't working for you? I said, well, I changed the channel, changed the station. So it's being flexible. It's being through awareness that there are things that I can control and there are things that I have no control over. But those that I can control, I'm going to do my best to set myself up for calm, ease, comfort, inner peace. And with those experiences, it helps to switch me out of that fight or flight mode, as you described it, which enacts or initiates the unhealthy, cortisol and adrenaline. And by switching to something that actually creates more of a feel-good moment for me, that calms me down physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. And so if it's not music, it's making a healthier choice to eat something that's going to give me an improved immunity, going to bring me greater health. When it's not nutrition, it's getting outside. It's being outdoors of my home. I find the most peace that I have is when I get out from under my four interior walls and get out into nature, touching the ground. Some people refer, you've heard of the term forest bathing or nature bathing. For me, what I experienced, because I don't live in a forest, I live in a desert today. I call it nature bathing because I'm able to do the same thing, which is just be present, close my eyes, raise my arms, allow my body to sway to the feeling and the sensation if there is a wind, paying attention to the sounds of the animals, embracing the feeling of the sun touching my body. And in nature bathing, I didn't understand it until I had the experience. It's a form of meditation in movement. You know, people think of meditation that a lot of people think it's you got to sit, you got to sit and you got to have your palms out and your eyes are closed and you're in quiet. Well, when I'm in nature bathing, typically I'm not in quiet. I do have music on, but my eyes are closed and I'm just present in the moment. And for me, a nature bathing experience can be 30 seconds. It could be 2 minutes. And what I do is that when I feel like, okay, I like how I feel, I continue walking. And then I may pick up another nature bathing opportunity 10 minutes later or an hour later. But it's just learning how to reach for things outside of myself that can actually help stimulate distracting me from thought and bringing me connecting with myself, connecting with the universe, connecting with the earth. When I'm not nature bathing, I'll take off my shoes at the end of a walk. If I'm in a trail, and I'll do some grounding. I'll dip my feet, my toes into sand, and I'll sit for 30 minutes. That's my intention for this afternoon. I'm going to get out in nature a second time today, And this time it'll be warmer. This morning when I got out there, it was in the 50s in the Fahrenheit, a little bit of a chill in the air. But this afternoon, I'll take off my shoes and just give my body the chance to do some grounding, which has some phenomenal health benefits. Another one for me is writing, writing, blogging. That's a powerful way to express how I'm feeling in a moment. And I never wrote before until I had the courage to kind of just start to do it about 4 years ago. Another one is connecting with people, showing up, being of service, whether I'm doing it with a client, whether I'm doing it with a friend, a family member through a video chat. If it's an iPhone, it's FaceTime. If it's not an iPhone, then it's, an app like Hangout, WhatsApp, or Messenger. It's connecting with people, so that we can see each other and we can feel each other. And in those moments, it takes us out of our obsessive thinking that typically, at least for most people today, is thinking about, how am I going to get through this moment? How am I going to survive? Am I going to be okay? Am I going to get sick? All those thoughts that as human beings are naturally going to surface, especially during a moment where there is so much unknown. Those are some of the tools that I have learned. Thankfully, I've been preparing unknowingly over the last number of years for this moment in my life. So hopefully some of you, if you have any questions or comments, please, if you're listening to us live or even on replay, I invite you to put something out there, to share in your comments. Let both Dr. Priya and myself know what is working for you. Share some of the things that you may be doing right here, right now. The fact that you're here right now and in this community with us in this moment shows me that you've just taken a healthy step to get out of your head and get into a space of connecting and joining us. Even though you may not be in the studio with both Priya and myself, we can feel your energy. I see you. I know you're here with us. And I appreciate you in this moment for showing up and being with us both here today. So thank you.
Yes. Yeah, I also would like to add one thing, that we still have our free will, and we can decide either to focus on fear. We can choose fear or distraction, or we can choose hope and positivity. It's up to us. Every human being is deciding his or her own fate at this point in time. And there are masses who are asleep and who do not know that they create their reality. And there are some of us who are holding the light, and we understand that we create our own reality with our thoughts. So we need to be very steady and very grounded at this time, to show them the way, to share our knowledge and our wisdom with whoever is in that frequency to hear us, by keeping ourselves very steady and grounded, because our light is needed and we were preparing for this day, all of us. And I'm talking to the conscious class right now. Our time has come. We have to rise and shine, and we have to show the way, and we have to be steady, and we have to take care of ourselves so that we can take care of others. We have been doing all our inner work for years upon years and working on our shadows and everything. Not just like that. We were being prepared for this day. And others are going to need us who are just waking up. So, and for the lay people, like you mentioned, that people who do not understand this, you have a choice. You can be fearful and panicky, or you can be hopeful and positive. Yes, we don't know. There is uncertainty, but it is going to get better. We're going to fight this. We're going to get out of it. There are infinite possibilities and potentials. I don't know when. I can probably say maybe by July we can see something, but by end of the year, I'm going to use the word expose. There is a lot of stuff which is going to be coming to light, and what's happening behind the scenes at this point in time, which we are not told and which we are not being shown. A lot of arrests, a lot of people leaving the offices, and people are being removed from the offices and stuff. It'll all come to light. So this is the final moment where all the darkness and whatever's been happening behind the scenes is going to be exposed. And if you guys, the conscious community, if you've heard the word disclosure, this is it. We're nearing it. So there is many things to this coronavirus. It is not just coronavirus. So please be aware, please be understanding what's happening, and don't be in that sheep mentality or herd mentality that one's doing and I have to do, and don't buy into fear, because the only way you can stay afloat if you step up away and see what exactly is happening. And for others, you can take baby steps. You have been given this time, everything is locked down and shut down. Stay at home, feed yourself wholesome food, breathe, meditate, yoga, connect with nature. You know, the quickest way to get out of your mind is connect with your breath. Just focus on your breath, one conscious breath at one time. Drop into your heart. If you haven't checked or you don't know who your neighbor is all these years, check. If there's a senior citizen around, if there's somebody alone living, call them and check. Guys, this is a disease where we are isolated. So we need to find ways, without crowding and without gathering, how to connect. Use social media. Do FaceTime. Check on each other. You see, we are only going to be moving through this isolation by sharing and caring about each other. You can have virtual families, you can have virtual friends. But think of a larger purpose, picture. It's not me, it's we. We're all in this together. So no selfishness or narcissistic behaviors or anything, it's just me, me, me. No, it's everyone together. And that's why we are being pushed to light. This darkness is going to be pushing everybody into the light. They're going to be seeing the truth for what it is. It's going to be shedding light on things that we didn't know. Most of us didn't know. Most of the planet didn't know. And then we will realize that we are not going to be same again. We're going to be consciously eating. We're going to be consciously working, following our passions. We're going to be thinking of the planet and the environment and the animals and all the sentient beings. We have to change our behaviors. This is call to action to change our behaviors. It's not going to be what we have been doing for eons. It really calls for action to change your belief systems, your behaviors. What you've been doing is obviously not accepted, because look what has happened. It's brought the whole planet to stand still. And there are very valid reasons behind it. Listen, sit still and listen. What are you
Priya,
being told?
I'd like to ask you to deep dive a little bit further into fear. What do you think is truly behind this moment of fear? What is it that we as human beings, generally speaking, what is it that is at the root of fear in this moment?
To be honest with you, Jay, fear is a learned behavior. If you know yourself, if you know the truth of who you are, spiritual being having a human experience, you have nothing to fear if you're conscious. However, if you're unconscious, what you're fearing right now, and I think the collective is fearing death. And you and I know what death is. So if you're ignorant, you are going to be creating that suffering for yourself and fearing death. But for me, what I would say, me personally, what we should be worried about, or what we should be thinking or worried at this point in time, is quality of your life. What has been the quality of your life instead of fearing death? So it's like, because people don't know what's on the other side of the veil, and they don't understand death from the perspective that we understand, they don't want to die, and they're fearing they might die, and it's unknown, and it's the magnitude, and it's everywhere, and you can catch it from anywhere. So what's going to happen to me, my family, my money, my property, and whatever? You see? So I feel it's dying. It's like death. That's what mostly the planet is fearing. But
Do you think, let me ask this, Priya. Do you think that it's always been here, just under the surface, and we have, globally speaking, masses have masked it through how they've shown up, through behavior, through the drive? What's the drive behind a global economy? What's the drive behind being successful, and how we have interpreted and taught our children for decades what the dream is about. What was truly, what has been behind the dream in society, and how we have measured what the dream's definition truly is, how we measured success and interpret success in life. I suspect a large part of that, what the driver has been, is the fear. And now that we are globally being asked to sit and slow down and have this moment of reflection, what was always there is now bubbling up from below the surface, because we are now truly having to face the things that we feared most in life, which is lack of shelter, lack of food, health, wellness, and death.
Yeah.
And here we are.
Yeah, we're faced with it. We've manifested this. We have collectively manifested this virus. And that is why you and I teach this. Over the years, we've been teaching inner work, inner work, inner work, because our inner world is creating outside reality. So you can see if the masses are unconscious, what is happening, what kind of world is happening over there or taking place. That is why it had to come to an halt. It was enough. Corrupt systems, greed. I would even say greed. What you said is measure of success. It's like never enough. We want more and we want more and we want more. We want to produce more food and mass production of this and this and this. Now we have been given time to isolate in your own house and check with yourself. Do you really need all of this? Do you really need so much of money and your bags and your clothes and your shoes and your everything? What? I mean, you really need to reflect and introspect. And the fear that you're talking, it was always there. They were probably covering it up or camouflaging it with all of these things, because obviously nobody likes to die, because they don't understand death. And that again brings me back to the thing that we have to be conscious. Everything is relating to you being asleep in every area. You don't know that you create your own reality. You don't know what death is. You don't understand what you're doing on this time, in this time, space, and reality. What is our higher purpose? You see? So we're going to be moving towards those times, when we had communities and we were closely connected and we were growing our own food and we didn't have this greed or to run after like a rat race. Everybody's running after this and that and more of this and more of this and more of that. That needs to stop. And that is why.
I'm sorry, go ahead. And that's why. Mm-hmm.
That is exactly why this has happened. It's like a cleanse now. It was up till here, it's cleansing, and all the lower frequencies and the corrupt systems and everything is going to be exposed in this darkness. And we are the ones who are shedding the light, and this is what is going to push people into awakening, into the light.
What do you think this is preparing us for?
New earth, brilliant times ahead. It is. It might not look like right now, but this too shall pass. There are infinite potentials right now, infinite possibilities. We can create anything, what we want. But I know for sure we're going to get through this. We just need to take one step at a time. Let go of the fear. Go within. Do whatever I can do in this moment. My future is not out there, what happens after 3 months or 6 months or 1 year. When the planes start to fly or my office is open and the stock market, whatever. No, my future is here and now. How do I choose to live today? I will do everything what I was not doing, where I didn't get time to do. I was too caught up doing everything else, but I didn't follow my passion. I didn't do what I wanted to do. So your future is here and now. That is 5D, literally getting into fifth dimension frequency. So we are heading into fifth dimension frequency, new earth, better times ahead. However, we need to go through this organized chaos, and universe knows there is order in this chaos. It's all being taken care of, and we don't need to fear. We don't need to worry. We need to let go of fear. Fear means we can be controlled. People can tell us what to do. You as a human, we as humans, can literally command our immune system to get okay. You can build your immunity just by intending. Your cells are listening. What I teach, CAL, Cells are listening. What you speak, your body is listening. Your body is super intelligent organism. You can make healthy choices for yourself. But first, it's just your intention. I am healed. All is well in my world. Everything is okay. It might not look like that, but for you in your little world, in your home, you have your child, you have your parents, you have food to eat, you have clothes to wear, you've got roof over your head. It's okay. Be content, be grateful. Attitude of gratitude is something which is going to take you a long, long, long way through this journey, or however.
For those that don't know your background, if I may share, Dr. Priya has in fact healed some significant chronic medical conditions in her lifetime, as have I. And it's interesting that you just brought that up, because I think it's important for people to understand that this conversation we're having is not based on theory. This conversation is based on our reality of where we were and where we are, how we have shifted our own internal body of sickness to body of well-being. And we have had these conversations, you and I, on air, on prior shows, as well as in private conversations. And what we both have experienced is how powerful the healing process is when we heal our emotional state of being, our emotional mind. The emotional mind, our thoughts, perhaps is the most powerful, greatest tool that we have within us. And at the same time, it actually can create the perfect storm for death through our thoughts. If you take a moment to kind of just expand upon what I just shared.
Yeah, this is what, I mean, you teach as well, and this is the bulk of my teaching, co-teaching. Every disease, disease, every illness has an emotional causation to it. It has started with an emotion which was not dealt with. Unresolved, unaddressed emotional material has become a block of energy, has affected those organs, and there you have, and you have been sitting on those negative thoughts, negative thought patterns, belief systems, and there you have, it could be unresolved anger, unaddressed resentment, guilt, shame, trauma, which has created your biology and also your biography, literally. Whatever you have gone through and you've not addressed, it literally becomes you. And you and I have discussed this, and well, it's no secret. People can actually research the metaphysical reasons of diseases behind. So unless and until, and years of anger, bam, you will get cancer. Then you will do superficial things, and I'm not against allopathic doctors, or I'm not against that medicine. They're very good at cutting and sewing, and they're very good at doing symptom suppressing. However, I would like that they even go deeper and understand what is the causation, because cancers even come back. Because your disease is actually a message telling you that there is something that you need to change in and of yourself, in your body, in your life. It's your higher self guiding you. That's what you need to understand. So your emotions, I mean, I would say heal your emotions first if you want to heal your body. And why I'm stressing about fear over here, you know what fear can cause in your body. What will it release? And that is a frequency match to this virus. The more you're fearful, the more you're panicking. You're releasing those hormones, and you're creating something in your body which is a match to this virus. So fear, anger, resentment, guilt, shame, and things will come up for you guys. Your stuff will come up at this point in time. Your trauma, your unaddressed stuff is going to come up. But you need to sit with yourself individually and understand, ask yourself, what does this anxiety mean for me personally? Where is it coming from? Why am I so scared of losing everything? Have I lost a lot in my childhood? Do I fear change? Do I fear loss? Where is it coming from? That's what I mean by going within and sitting with yourself and reflecting. So
I
emotional
love.
healing,
Go ahead.
definitely.
I'm sorry.
Emotional healing is like basis or foundation of what I teach. You heal that, or even your traumas or everything, whatever you have gone through in your childhood and the emotions that you have not addressed. Once you address that, your body has an ability to heal itself if you step out of the way. Fear is the real virus. Fear is going to kill more people than this virus.
You mentioned the word trauma, and if anyone's followed you and or read your book, they know your story. They know that you endured a lot of trauma in your younger years, and even as an adult. I've read a few articles regarding this topic, and my understanding, from what I've interpreted, is that people that have either worked through earlier traumas from their life or are still in it may be activated. If it's from the past, it could be reactivated and bring it back. What is your perspective on this? And what is your perspective on this?
Jay, we repeat what we don't repair. For example, if you were traumatized as a child, 0 to 7 years, you hold that frequency deep within you, which we call the wounded child, inner child. You will be seeing your whole world through those filters, through your wounded inner child filters. It is going to be sabotaging your entire life, your adulthood, your marriage, your relationships, your money, your jobs, your confidence, your self-esteem, everything, if you don't go back there and look at those traumas and address them and open up your suitcase and unpack it and own up your story. So you need to dive deep into your pain, however much ever scary it looks or uncomfortable it looks, but that's where the cure lies. And everything that's happening to your life, in your life, you are actually creating from your conscious mind, subconscious mind, and unconscious mind. So consciously, you could be saying your affirmations and you're all positive. But 95% of your life you're creating from your subconscious mind, and where there you lie, realize your traumas, your memories, your belief systems, everything what you've been through and what you have kind of suppressed, and then the unconscious mind, what you're not even aware of, even subconscious you're not aware of unless you're triggered. So it will go with you for the rest of your life. Now, if it gets really too much, let's say you divorce twice, or you get a serious chronic illness, then you really think and look back at your life and say, you know what, I'm sick and tired of this. I really need to change the way my life's going. Then you get into your healing work and why this is not working, and why do I keep attracting these kind of partners? Why do I have these sicknesses where doctors can't find the cure? So it's all coming from your trauma. And you really need to address it. And that's what emotional healing is about. That's what shadow work is about. That's what inner child healing is about. But the basis of your healing is over there. You heal that, and then you stop attracting those people who will make you feel like the way you felt when you were a child.
So if I may paraphrase what I believe I just heard you say, is that this moment in time, if you have dealt with trauma, if you have faced earlier trauma through your shadow work, and you've done healing work on the emotional healing, and if it pops up for you now, it's an opportunity to just have awareness that there's still some opportunity for more work to be done. And perhaps now is not the time to hibernate, to pull the covers over our head and go back into the fetal position that we may have lived in the past. This is a time. This time is a time of. It's the gift, and a gift is the time. This is the time to not pull the covers over your head, but pull the covers back. This is a time that many people want to retreat, and we are in. The countries, the world is inviting us to retreat from the outside to come inside, and it doesn't mean that we're covering our heads or burying ourselves and hiding in the closet. It means that this is the gift of time so that we can look at and experience what emotional healing today can look and feel like. And this is an opportunity that we shouldn't miss. This is an opportunity for us to embrace, to push through these moments of discomfort, these moments of the unknowing, with acceptance that just for today, this is how we get to experience life. Just for today, what is it that I can do to make this day a day of calm for myself, a day of connecting with others, a day of just accepting. There's a lot of people that want answers. We want to, it's like the little kid that wants to know why. You remember when some kids are 2 years old and they're talking? Some kids are asking the same questions over and over again. Yeah. Why mommy? Why daddy? Why is that? There's some kids are like that. They're really inquisitive. They want to know at that young age. They want answers. I'm not sure that this is the time to be asking those kinds of questions. This is the time for us to really assess our experience, how we had embraced our life up until this moment, and ask ourselves, how do we want to show up today? Are we going to show up resisting this? Or are we going to show up embracing this moment and taking advantage of this time to do some shadow work, to do some healing of your own hurts and experiences, as well as healing relationships outside of yourself, perhaps? You mentioned the inner child, and for some people that may be watching perhaps for the first time or have not heard those words used in a long time, it's interesting that you brought that up, because I wanted to ask you, if you are a parent today and you are raising young children, and or you have children that are older and it's not in the home, what do you think we can do to hold our children in this moment? What can we do emotionally and mentally to, first and foremost, explain our children why they're not in school, why we're not going to work, what's going on in society, what's happening? And then the second piece of that is, what is our responsibility as a leader in our homes, as a parent, as a mentor, as a teacher? What is our responsibility, and how can we show up for our children in this moment when perhaps they need us more than ever, when we are ourselves living in fright or fear?
First and foremost, Jay, can I say this? And I love to say this. Gosh, it's my favorite. Get conscious, heal yourself if you're a parent. Your children are going to be reflecting your own shadows and your own patterns and behaviors and whatever you've been suppressing. They are your mirrors. Work on yourself, heal yourself. The best gift that you can give your child is working on your wounds and not reflecting the same wounds on them, and also not passing your own experiences and your own faulty belief systems and your programming onto them. And understand something, the kids are very, if they're 0 to 7 years, till 7, 8 years, they're very connected to the soul world. They're very connected till they start getting programmed and conditioned. And then you start teaching them, why school is important and what is success and what is failure and why you're not better than the other one and blah, blah, blah. All that goes on. However, get conscious, heal your own wounds, and how you can show up at this point in time. Children are the new human. If I'm not mistaken, I don't think so virus is affecting any children, because they are less programmed and conditioned, and they're carrying very less negativity density in them. So they understand everything, unless start treating them like adults instead of children. They might look like your children, but they're all souls. They've already come here knowing what's happening. So you don't have to start putting your ideas into them. School, okay, 1 month break, 2 months break, we can have fun. We can learn to garden. We can learn to cook. We can spend quality time together. That's it. You don't have to put negative programming and belief systems into them, fear into them. We don't know what's going to happen. We don't know when your schools are going to open and this is happening. You don't need to do that to them. You can make it fun. It's okay. They love to stay at home any which ways. They don't really need to know the reasons. Children are very focused in the present moment. It's us. It's always us who are not okay. The children are okay not to go to school for next 4 months. They're not going to even be bothered. Unless you are like, oh my God, they're at home and things are not going the way they were supposed to. They should. Children should go to school. My husband should go to work and this should happen. All that's going to change. Be flexible. I'm telling people now, whatever situation is in front of you, evaluate, assess, and adjust. And be flexible. Whatever is happening, adjust. Don't stay stuck to what used to happen and why it's not happening. It's not happening because it's not meant to happen the same way anymore. Your education systems are also going to change because they're not serving you anymore. Maybe homeschooling is going to be more mainstream. Spirituality is going to be more mainstream. Your meditation is going to be more mainstream. So spend quality time with your kids. Heal yourself, Homeschool them. Teach them about how to grow food, how to cook, how to paint, how to see what they like to do. They're going to be showing you their essence. Instead of the programming and conditioning of the school, they are going to be showing you what they have come here for. But if you're a conscious parent, you will pick on that instantly. If you're unconscious, then you're going to be sitting and worrying, oh my God, 5 months no school, what am I going to do? My child's going to be behind in school and so on and so forth. Old programming, old paradigm, that needs to go. And because
Priya,
of this fear...
I'd like to ask you real quick, if I may. I apologize for interrupting there. Just for those that are watching, there is somewhat of a delay that takes place, perhaps. It's the universe's energy between Scottsdale, Arizona, and Mumbai, India. So there's that's happening, and so it's a challenge that we get to work through. But I want to ask you, for those that may not be familiar with how the field of energy works in the universe, in life, in our homes, in our kitchens, in our living rooms, in our bedrooms. How does, as a parent, how does our energy impact our children's experience? Can you expand upon that, please?
Very simply put, Jay, if you're irritated, if you're anxious, if you're fearful, your children are going to be picking it up like this. Either they'll be falling sick, or they'll be having meltdowns or tantrums. They're going to be showing you exactly what you're dealing with inside and what you're suppressing or even showing. So if you're calm and centered, and this I talk about pets, your houseplants, and your children. Very sensitive to your energy. Your energy is your feelings, your moods, your frequency. If you're calm, centered, grounded, you can see the difference in your home and in your children and in your pets. If you're anxious, my pet used to throw up when I was anxious. So I had to work on myself. And I thought probably something's wrong with her. But she was showing me that work on your anxiety. I'm okay. Again, go back to emotional healing. What is it that we haven't healed in and of ourselves? Our anxiety, our depression, our fear, our perfectionism, our things to do, just doing. This doing needs to stop. That's why we've been given this time. We need to just be. Can't be doing. So just slow down. Slow down. You slow down, your children are okay. You are fine, you're centered and grounded, everything is okay around you. That's the energy that you emit, that calmness. And I do have certain tools which I can share at the end of the show, which any layperson can do who has no idea about what is consciousness, what is vibration, what is meditation. I'm going to give very, very, very simple tools which anybody can do.
Beautiful. Beautiful. I appreciate that, Priya. It's, I could tell you as a parent of 3 sons, most of the early years, I was not conscious parenting. I was doing the best I could with what I knew. As I love to say, I didn't know what I didn't know until I knew it. However, once you know it, it's a choice to go back to your old ways, your old patterns. And I could tell you that what I've learned in my own journey of healing my own mind, body, and soul, people, including our children, are paying way more attention to our behaviors than the words we speak. And when our behaviors are not aligned with the words we speak, there's a conflict there. There's a disparity that's just, we're not aligned. And that's how I used to show up. I was not whole. I was not one. I did the best I could, but I was unconsciously living my life. I was sleepwalking from 54 years of my life. Truly, it wasn't because I wanted to, it was because I didn't know what I didn't know until I knew it. But here's the key. Once you know it, there's no going back. If you go back, then it's on you, but it's a choice to continue to show up the way you've shown up, knowing that not only were you hurting other people, but most importantly, you were hurting yourself. And so I encourage you, if you are watching, if you are listening, if you are with us in this moment, live or on replay, take this time to just open your eyes, open your heart, surrender to your old belief systems, your old ways of showing up for yourself, for your children, for your loved ones, and take this opportunity to really start to pay more attention to how you are showing up in your behavior and work on how you can improve your behavior through how you take care of yourself, because your children are, you are your children's greatest teacher. They are watching you. And what if we would have flipped that, Priya? What if we would have flipped it and slow down enough during this moment to look at our children as our teachers?
Yes, that's what they are. That is what they are. That's why they're reflecting. They're reflecting everything of yours. They're like your mirrors. They are our spiritual teachers.
What do you think our children are trying to teach us right now?
Depending on what your wounds are, what you need to learn. It's different, individual for everyone. I have seen parents who've got anger issues, and the child has meltdowns and tantrums all the time. So when they come to me that my child has an issue, I always tell them it's not your child, it's you. You have a problem. So they will be showing you the parts of you that you have not acknowledged and embraced. They will be showing you your own wounds and the stuff that you need to heal in and of yourself. And you will be calling them the troublesome twos, or a very demanding child, or ADHD, or dyslexia, or and so on and so forth. And you also need to see them for who they are and not try to mold them. These unconscious beings want to mold their kids into these dolls, and they should be this way, and they're identifying with their children that if I didn't do this, or I look like a better parent, come across as a better parent if my kid is doing this. So stop identifying with your kids. These are the souls who are on their own journey. And instead of molding them into mini yous, see their own, look at them with their own essence. It's like a lotus flower. Let them open one, one petal at a time. Don't kind of suppress them and put your own stuff over there so that they become other version or mini versions of you. They're not here for that. And you can see millennials, you can see the new age children, you can see millennials, how much ever we hate them and we want to strangle their neck. They are the game changers. They're going to teach us how to live.
Why do you believe that to be so?
Pardon?
Why do you believe the millennials are our teachers?
They are showing us how we need to do things, not what we have been taught for centuries and eons, whether it's working, whether it's doing what I love to do and not following the sheep mentality and the herd mentality and just keep doing what we've been doing and our fathers were doing and grandfathers were doing. Here it's like, I don't feel like doing it. I want to do what I feel like doing, which we don't do, right? We're only looking at everybody else and this should be. We need to get rid of our shoulds and should nots. Even now, you will create less suffering for yourself if you don't get attached to certainty. If you don't get attached to it should be this way. Be flexible, adjust, and let things flow.
Linda asked, how do you explain to a 5-year-old what's happening now? All the little children know something is going on.
How do they know? Because parents are talking, parents are exposing them to media, or God knows what's happening around them. It's the adults who need to be conscious and see what they are exposing their kids to at this point in time. What sort of energy and frequency is happening in your house? Is the TV on throughout the day? Are you only talking about on the phone, oh my God, this is happening, that's empty, or I don't have supplies and God knows what's going to happen. They are listening, they're watching you, they're picking up everything. So be very, very mindful what you're doing. And you're even damaging yourself, your own frequency by doing that. So that is something you can't control. You can in a way, because you still create your own reality. But your own life, your own this nucleus, your family, your own cocoon, you can control. You can choose what you need to do in this time with your children in the house all day. How would you like to spend that time? Take them out in nature, teach them something new, read together, quilt together, cook together, garden together. Build those connections with your children, which you probably never did. You've given this time for all of this. Take charge of your community, your immediate community. And don't pass on your own fear to your own kids. Don't do that.
You mentioned the inner child before, and I want to come back to that in this moment. When an adult is in fear, in thought of fear, future tripping, who do you believe in that moment is present and showing up in their self, in their body, in their moment? Is it themselves as the adult, or is it their own child within that is fearful and frightful and scared and worried?
Inner child, most definitely. Conscious you will be okay. You're fine. If you are scared, if you are fear of change, if you are acting out, it's all your inner child giving you your red flags that you need to work on that. So it's not you who's scared. It's deep down your inner child is scared of something, and that's what I said. Go within and check with yourself. What is this fear mean for you? Why are you scared? Why are you scared?
So it takes, in that moment, now this takes practice, because if you're anything like I once was, I was just showing up. I wasn't aware. I just thought that was me. When I'd go to fear or fright, I was unconsciously in fear and fright, unaware that there is that part of me that was in those thoughts. It was my own, still that little boy that's still alive inside, that still has his temper tantrum, that still has his meltdowns, that still wants what he wants, that still stamps his feet, that still gets hungry, angry, lonely, and tired and scared. So knowing today that when we are in those thoughts, that it typically will be a younger part of myself, what I can do and what I practice doing today is showing up for that little boy as the conscious parent of myself, and having a conversation with me and asking that little boy, what is it that you need from me right now? Identifying what's going on with him, paying attention to him, asking him the question, and then giving him nourishment, nurturing, and unconditional love, which ultimately is what our children outside of us need from us as well. So if we were to parent ourselves in these moments the way we hopefully can show up for our children outside of ourselves, we can have a better day of calm, and knowing that just for this moment we are okay. It's just learning how to parent ourselves, something that we weren't taught that at home, we weren't taught that in school, and certainly weren't taught that on a playground or in the boardrooms and in business.
Yes, Jay. And just to add to that, what you said about reparenting yourself and then parenting children outside of us, what you need to do is validate yourself and acknowledge yourself first and your inner child. And allow yourself to go through those emotions. And what I teach parents today is allow your child to have the full spectrum of emotions. What you need to do is emotional parenting, which of course we are in dark ages. We don't understand that. Allow your child to have the meltdowns. Understand what's happening behind that. Don't suppress. Don't shout at them. Don't tell them to behave a certain way. And exactly the same thing you have to do for yourself. Go through those emotions, how much ever painful they are, because they have a message. They're trying to tell you something about something that happened long, long, long ago, what you need to address now. And that's why it's showing up. And healing is like a circle, it's a spiral. Whatever you don't heal, it'll show up. It'll show up through some other person, through another event, through another circumstance. It doesn't fade away, it doesn't go away. So you can't bypass it, no matter how hard you try. And then depends what kind of quality of life would you like to lead. If you're settling in and if you're fine with however you're living and you're suppressing and being inauthentic with your own self, then it's okay. You're never going to be truly, truly happy or healthy. However, if you are totally looking at or even acknowledging a simple slight hitch, or you don't feel good, I'm feeling uncomfortable, and sitting with that emotion, any uncomfortable emotion, you're sitting with it and checking where it's coming from. Why am I feeling this way? Your quality of life will improve greatly. If you're paying attention to look at your emotions, your inner children crying, like little children crying. They're wanting your attention at that point in time. So don't shut yourself up, don't suppress, work through those emotions. That's why I said work through that fear, work through that anxiety, work through everything. Whatever is showing up for you at this point in time, you have been given the time to do exactly that. Instead of diving deep into fear outside of you, the fear is inside of you, and that's why you've attracted this fear outside of you. Check what is the fear inside of you trying to tell you about yourself. What is your story? What needs healing?
Thank you for sharing that, Priya. I want to acknowledge Linda just asked the question. So, and I'm gonna share my perspective on it, and I'll invite you to share yours. She's going back to the children. If you're raising children in the home today, do you lie to them and tell them or what? And here's my perspective on that: is I'll never advocate not being honest with the children if they ask questions, but it's a twofold response. One is how we are showing up. They're paying attention to our behaviors. So our number one responsibility is to first take care of ourselves and learn what that can feel like, and that experience can be if it's something we haven't done in the past. So this is a chance for us to do two things: show up and grow up. Learn how to take care of ourselves emotionally, mentally, physically, and spiritually in this moment, this gift of time. The second thing is that I don't suggest that we deceive our children or not be honest with them. I think it's age appropriate on how we respond. I think it's okay to say to a child, explaining it to them in a sense of, again, I'm coming from my own experience, having raised 3 children. That's it. That's from my experience. That's where I share from my heart space, from my own experiences. And that's that age appropriate. If you explain to a child, look, you've had a cold before, you've had a virus before, you've had a stomach virus where you threw up, you've had a virus where you had a fever. Well, right now there's this virus that is going, that's kind of a lot of people are catching. And the only way that the society is determined that we can help slow down other people catching the virus from one another is by us right now not going to school or not going to work outside of the home. And it's temporary. And there's a good chance we may or may not get it. But if we get it, just like we've had other viruses, if we take care of ourselves now and we eat healthy and we make healthy choices for ourselves, we have a good chance that if and when we get it, that we'll heal from it quickly. And that is all we probably need to say. It's just trusting your intuition, trusting your inner wisdom, which we already have. Part of the waking up, part of consciously awakening is learning how to trust your inner voice, your inner wisdom that you were born with, that we were all born with. That's one of the gifts of life. Instead of going to our head where our answers don't really, our true essence of who we are and what we need in our life doesn't come from our thinking. It comes from within. And so quieting our minds long enough to pause and let the answers come from within as to what is appropriate to say to our children based on the age at which they are, explaining it, breaking it down for them in simple terms. Also, I believe less is more. Less is more, meaning we don't have to explain every detail, every minutia. Yeah. Just keep it in general terms. Break it down to what they understand. They understand, even as a 4-year-old, what it feels like to have a virus or to have had an ear infection, many of them. So basically explain it just that way. It's kind of like, when you've had that virus, you've had that ear infection. It's society's way of right now trying to help less people come down with it. And so right now, we're all kind of on vacation.
Totally. I totally agree with you, Jay. I would totally agree with you what you're saying, and I would say that treat them as young adults. It is your shadows, it is your guilt, it is your way of protecting them which is coming in the way, but they understand way, way, way more than you. Treat them as adults and like Jay said, follow your internal guidance system and see what you are guided to share. You don't have to delve into details, right? And children live in the moment. You tell them something, they're not like us. They're going to be thinking about it or what's going to happen 10 years down the line. They will go outside and play, or they will, do something, whatever, to distract themselves. They're masters of living in the present moment. So it's us, again, probably your fear of giving in too much information or protecting your child is coming in the way that what should I say and what should I not say, and even see what you're exposing your child to. If you're talking on the phone to someone for 3 hours and your child's playing next to you and listening, so you're giving out the information any which ways, invariably. So see what you're exposing yourself to and what you're exposing your children to. You see? Keep it simple. Switch off the television. Go out in the backyard or in the nature and just play, just let them climb trees and let them do simple things. They will forget about the virus and they'll just think it's an extended holiday. But talk to them as adults. They understand everything. They feel everything. And you don't have to feel guilty or be overprotective. Remember, their souls and they have chosen this for themselves. They have come down here with the knowing. You might not think it that way, but that's how it is. They're much more connected than you and I are because they are less programmed at this point in time if they're younger and less conditioned.
Something just came to me in this moment, and I want to share it with you because that's just how I show up today. Is when I show up let's say in a conversation like we're having right now, I get the gifts of it as well in the moment. And I was just thinking, as you're just describing this opportunity for a mom and a child, or a dad and a child, or a mom and a dad, or the caretaker, whomever is raising the children in the home, is that I remember the greatest moments I had when my children were still at home was when I'd go out and I'd play with them. when I'd go out and I'd be in a moment with them, and I always attributed it to that I just love spending time with my children.
Yeah.
And that's true. But there's another part that just hit, which is I got to spend time with my own child within in that moment.
Thank you, Jay.
I got to get down on my hands and knees with my children, my 3 sons, and play. As the adult inner child, I gave him permission to come out and play. I remember some of you that may be watching this live right now that know me for decades. For many decades, when my kids were young, I spent so much time on a floor crawling with them that I had permanent, my knees were permanently had calluses on them, truly, for about 15 years. Now, I don't have them anymore on my knees. My knees have since healed and I don't have those calluses. But, it's interesting because in this moment, I was embarrassed. I didn't like the way my knees looked because they were calloused. But, right now, right here, right now, I'm glad I had those calluses because those were the greatest moments of raising my children when I was teaching them by me showing up with them in that moment, playing. And that's the greatest gift that we can do right now is get on our hands, get on our knees, open up, surrender, play. That is the greatest healing antidote and immunity boosting antidote that we have in our back pocket right here, right now. Go out and play. And if your children are out of your house, go out and play. Even if they're not in the same city or state as mine are not, just by me turning up my song, turning up the music, you said dance in the house, dance outside, dance with clothes on, dance with clothes off. It doesn't matter. Just move. Just get out, move, get out of your head. And your family members and your friends will feel your energy no matter where they live. And I got a son that's living in New York right now. He's living in the hot spot of New York State. He's in Brooklyn right now, which has got more cases than any other part of New York.
We are not focusing on that, Jay. We're not going to put any negative energy there. He's good.
No, I'll tell you what I did yesterday. I said to my son, I said, what are you doing for yourself? And he said, Dad, because he's out of work right now. He's works at a bar. And I said, what are you doing? What are you doing for yourself emotionally, mentally, physically, and spiritually? And he said, Dad, I'm running. I got weights in my room. I'm listening to podcasts. I'm eating healthy. Now, this is my 25-and-a-half-year-old boy.
There you go. He's so conscious already. He's already so conscious.
That doesn't mean he doesn't have those moments of question.
That's okay.
He's human.
That's part of being human. That's part of being human. Jay, we will be picking up stuff from the collective as well. The fear, the anxiety, the uncertainty. Of course, that's part of being human. It's okay. But you don't stay there. You don't get attached to it. You move through it.
Exactly.
You take your power back at that point in time and realize I'm the creator and it's not going to touch me because I take charge of my life and I don't let anything control me.
Beautiful. Beautiful, Priya. I want to just bring this question out to the table here. Russ Birchfield Jr. coming in from Atlanta, Georgia. We met on a hike and heel many, many months ago. And today he's a friend and part of my group coaching program. And I just love this man to death. He's just an incredible example of someone who has really embraced coming back home to himself and on this journey, this committed journey to self-exploration and self-care and self-love. He asked the question, is there a way to commit to being conscious? I keep going back to old behaviors. Priya, I'm going to let you take this one.
Sure, Jay. I remember Russ, and I think he's an artist. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes. Yeah, he is.
He's a brilliant artist. Yeah, I'm going to answer that. Is there a way to commit to being conscious? hell yes, there is. I keep going back to old behaviors. The reason you're going back to old behaviors is there is an emotional payoff over there in that comfort zone. Check what is that. Why do you keep repeating? Why do you keep repeating those behaviors? Why do you keep staying stuck in those places, those comfort zones? Are you scared to come out? Are you scared of the new? But I mean, you have to be a little bit more specific what old behavior so that I can give you specific answers. But definitely there is an emotional payoff. And that is why that keeps you. Remember, inner child will keep you in places which are comfortable. It'll keep you stuck. It'll keep you in your familiar territory. It'll not let you venture out. Even if you want to explore or try something new, a voice will say you're not good enough. You can't do it. You're not this, you're not enough, you're whatever. It'll keep you stuck. So old behaviors could be repeating those patterns because there is learning over there, and you're repeating those patterns because you have had those patterns. You've gone through those patterns in your childhood. So what are those patterns? What are those belief systems? What are those, either it's with the relationships or with the partners? Are you repeating something? Because there's an emotional payoff and there is something deep down you believe about yourself. And that is why you're probably, I'm just hoping maybe it's relationships or something, if you're attracting similar kind of partners or whatever it is. If you can be more specific, I would love to assist you in understanding why are you doing this. Like it could be something simple, what you're doing again and again. I can give you a little bit insight why you're doing it again and again.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
How happy and how desperate you're wanting to, how desperately you're wanting to heal yourself and upgrade your life. That will tell you your commitment to being conscious. If you are settling in and you're comfortable with how your life has gone for so long, then obviously you're not going to be committing to be conscious. You're probably in your comfort zone. And sometimes universe will give us red flags, right? And we don't listen. And sometimes those flags will or those signs will get louder. And then we're forced to listen, like what's happening on the planet right now. Everybody is being pushed to get conscious and of course get committed to. So then it gets like this. So pay attention. What is stopping you from committing? What are your blocks? Where are you being held back by your inner child? Investigate that.
Thank you for sharing your perspective on that, Priya. We are an hour and a half in. Right now it's 12:30 a.m. in Mumbai. Sure. I'd like to. Are you okay?
Okay,
we didn't really.
I'm totally. I don't sleep. I love the night. It's like my creative time. I love the night.
I would like to touch on something that's coming up for me right now. Is we've touched on fear. But however, what we haven't touched on is faith. Where does faith play into fear? And how can faith, what does faith mean to you in this time, in this moment?
See, fear and faith cannot live together. And again, faith comes from a space that there is a higher power or divine or universe has your back. It's all taken care of. It's all orchestrated. It's all planned. And you're not abandoned. Number one. And faith is, first, do you believe in your own self, that you create your own reality, and then you're going to be believing outside, or even whatever you pray to. That's okay. I'm saying trust and surrender at this point in time, because this is something which you think it's not in your control. So instead of fearing and distracting yourself and exposing yourself to all the fear-based information, just keep the faith and say, okay, you know what? Today I'm good. I've got my basics. I've got my supplies. I've got my family with me. I'm good to go. And I leave rest everything to the universe. Give it over to the universe or whoever you trust in. That's faith for today. And it'll see you through. Your faith can move mountains. Just try. It's better than being fearful, because being fearful is not going to get you anywhere. So if you're keeping the faith, the fear will go away. You will be calm. There's a spaciousness that opens up where you're not bothered about what's happening and what's going to happen, because somebody is taking care of you. You know, universe has your back. You were always looked after, Everything has always worked out for you, and this also is divine plan. Let go, trust, and surrender. We like to control everything. We want to know the outcomes. We want to just, do. It's doership syndrome. I want to control this, because we don't like to be out of control. And that is also coming from somewhere in our childhoods, where we were out of, somebody else was in control of our choices. We didn't have choices. Somebody else was controlling our lives. So now when we've grown up, we want to control everything so that I don't feel that emotion, what I felt back there. I don't want to be stranded. I don't want to be destitute. I don't want to be abandoned. So let me make sure everything is okay. I have enough supplies. I have everything, so I'm safe and secure, because probably we were not safe and secure as children. So that's why I said, again, going back to the beginning of the session, what is this insecurity or anxiety or fear meaning to you in your life? If you're holding up the supplies, what's coming in your mind? Why are you doing that? If half the planet is scrambling over basic supplies, and if we're holding our houses, it's selfish to begin with. But why am I doing it? Lack? Am I scared that I will be left hungry or without anything, or I will starve or something? Where is it coming from? Investigate and work on that. Work through your fears. The best space to be in right now is consciously go within and check whatever emotions are surfacing, check where they're coming from and work through them. That is the best place to be. And that's the best advice I can give to anyone today asking me what to do. Check what's surfacing and what it means for you. Work on that. And that's how you will let go of the fear. You're not going to let go of the fear if I sit here for 1.5 hours and tell you, hey guys, keep the faith. Don't be scared. You're not going to do that. You will do it once you do the inner work. You go within and check the causation and the root cause of that fear.
I'd like to take a moment to thank you, Priya, for joining me today in this important conversation that has unfolded. I really enjoyed our conversation, and one more time connecting. Although we may be far in physical distance, we're together. And
yes. Energy, we are energy. Energy knows no bounds. We are connected telepathically, spiritually. That's more important than physically. And now we have to master the art of being connected without being crowded or without, gathering together. We have to master that. So we can do that very well. We have the tools. We can FaceTime.
If there's someone that's listening, watching, that would like to connect with you, what is the best way for them to reach you?
Jay, I have a website, and I think you have been very kind enough to put it down in the scroll somewhere. It's showing up. They can log into my website, and there is a contact form. They can reach me through that contact form, and then we take it from there.
And if they want to follow you on Facebook, where can they follow you on Facebook? What's your Facebook name?
It's Dr. Priya Saklani, author, coach, healer. But what I'm going to do is, Jay, I'm going to make it easy. I'm going to put the links here. Wherever they want to follow me, Instagram or my Facebook, I'm going to probably after our show, I'm going to add the link underneath, to my book, to my website, to my page, or whatever social media handles.
Beautiful.
I can do that.
I'd like to invite you in this moment to share some closing thoughts. Although this whole conversation is about getting out of our thoughts, I'm asking you to perhaps maybe just go inward and share some closing perspectives.
Yes, Jay, I want to share two things. First, I want to give my little toolkit to people how to maneuver through these times. And lastly, I want to read a poem, if you would allow me, and I won't take much of your time. So the toolkit would be stay in the present moment. I'm reading, guys, so allow me to read. Stay in the present moment, go within, work on yourself, meditate, yoga, Tai Chi, move your energy, whatever works for you. Gratitude. meditation, meditate, breath work, breathe deeply, reflect, connect with whoever's around you, connect with yourself. If you have a stronger connection to yourself, you will sail through. Create consciously and raise your vibration. And in the end, stay calm, raise your vibration, expand your consciousness, and let's step into the new reality, new earth. It's exciting time, guys. This will pass. And lastly, but not the least, I would like to read something out very beautiful. I don't know the lady's name who's written it, but I'm going to just read it nonetheless. And the people stayed home and read books and listened and rested and exercised and made art and played games and learned new ways of being and were still and listened more deeply. Some meditated, some prayed, some danced, some met their shadows, and the people began to think differently. And the people healed, and in the absence of people living in ignorant, dangerous, mindless, and heartless ways, the earth began to heal. And when the danger passed and the people joined together again, they grieved their losses and made new choices and dreamed new images and created new ways to live and heal the earth fully as they had been healed. With that, I would really thank you, Jay, for allowing me to share my perspective, my own theories, my own wisdom, whatever I know with your audience and whoever is watching us. Thank you so much, guys, for watching and taking the time out. Really grateful and supporting you and holding space for you and in my meditations in any way that I can support and hold space for the whole planet. And it's all under control. It's all going the way it is planned. It's all is well. All is well. So I bow to the divine in you. I see the light in you, and I want you to shine your light more bright because we need it in these times. Let's give each other light. Let's share our light.
Thank you, Dr. Priya. I love you. Thank you for joining me
Thanks, Jay.
overseas. And I'm sure we'll be back to have another conversation in the near future. If you've joined us live on a replay, thank you so much for being here today with us on Real People, Real Stories. I'm going to have a special guest coming in tomorrow. Coming in, I believe she's homeland is in Australia. Her name is Lisa, and she is a conscious parenting coach. And so tomorrow we are going to be deep diving into on the work she's doing today overseas and how she is navigating as a mom, as a parent, and coaching her clients during this moment on conscious parenting. And so that'll be tomorrow. Make today the best day of your life, because right now that's all we got. Do what you can do to do some self-care, lean into yourself, go in so that you can have those moments of gratitude and gratefulness for just this moment. And with that, we'll see you tomorrow. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Jay.